Hello, it is my great honor to have this opportunity to partake in this gathering. Today, I'll talk about the conceptual relations between Islam and other religions, and I'll offer three possible relations, and we'll see that based on one of those we can define a syntagm. So the representatives of religious thought throughout history has not agreed on what a religion is, so it's quite expected that a consensus on the definition of religious studies goes beyond. On the other hand, the role of religion in the education, a new cultural identity, and the science itself, which has always been the foundation of all civilizational burdens, is a topic that any religious thinker needs to devote to. Exactly because of that, and taking into account the dominant secular and rebel age we live in today, I'll try to briefly address this topic, highlighting the importance and definition of religious studies in the modern world. So we now have major questions. What do we expect from religion? Do we expect to find answers to all questions in a religion, to face models, templates, and recommendations for all our individual and social activities and action? Or do we think that the powers and capacities of a religion are limited and that it can cover only individual aspects of our life, whether other aspects and segments require us relying on other sources, philosophy, science, intuition, whatever cognitive sources? Depending on the answers to these questions, we can have different expectations from a religion. So we see a religion as a reflection and an image of what is actually going on as a formal interpretation of objective beings, so which we see in example of Christian philosophy, scholastic philosophy, and later on in the example of Islamic philosophy. So a religion is understood as a reflection, an image of what is actually going on as a formal interpretation of objective beings. On the other hand, it does not go beyond symbols. I apologize, I need to slow down because of the interpretation. And the other time, we believe that it doesn't go beyond symbols and ideas of a man and a group that instituted the religion. The first form, as expected, we see in a traditional understanding of religion, where religion is intertwined with all segments of a man's life. The other form is more present in secular societies nowadays, generally in modern West, where religion is linked to an individual life and is not reflected in a person's individual artistic or scientific life. It is not difficult to note that the concept of religious studies can be connected with the traditional form of religion, whereas it is unimaginable and absurd according to the secular understanding of the essence of religion, because the secular interpretation of religion tends to leave out religion from all aspects of social life according to that model of understanding. Religion is allowed, but it cannot be an integral part of any social structure. It does not portray itself or express itself in a society. It is not there when governments are formed, when scientific, cultural, or other institutions are established, and it is exercised exclusively privately. Even where certain religious rites are conducted together, as in churches, temples, etc., religion does not leave any lasting or an important mark. On the other hand, science and scientific systems are greatly linked with the society. Universities are created according to general principles that a society accepts. And that's why it is natural and expected that representatives of secular thought will not accept that religion as such should come to the surface in any production of scientific or any other thought. According to their views, religion is not a science. The Emil Durkheim, the French sociologist, wrote extensively about religion, but never gave up on his basic secular or positivistic beliefs. He did not give up on the idea that religion is just
Religion indeed comes from God, that is the source of its existence, and the purpose of it is to show to men what the spiritual and material matrix is, to lead it to the path of its iconic origin. Therefore, religion as such should encompass all features of a man's existence. In other words, religion in that way will be some kind of translation of the concept of real world. This concept can only be realized on the platform of such realistic understanding, because if we do not see it as a form of reality, a form of reaching reality, if you do not accept cognitive capacity, then it is absurd to expect it to be used in any education or formation of a scientific discipline unless it is efficient in that way. Then it will not be able to show any effective role in the formation of cultural heritage of a nation. But even traditional acceptance of religion can be interpreted in two ways. One group says religion speaks about universal notions, whilst details are fully left to our ratio, and the ratio is the one to use its capacity to construe the details. It is not difficult to see that such ideas come under the influence of secular ideas, and we see them in the works of contemporary Islamic or Christian authors in this postmodern philosophical views. But thinking that religion does not have any detailed message and that it only deals with universal notions can easily lead to relative views that individuals or societies are free to accept religious messages in accordance with their own moral views. We heard that there are conclusions that any religious society anywhere in the world, in any part of history, is entitled to say what it says, and that in that it actually speaks the truth. So you cannot really say that one society is right and the other is wrong, but every society and every religion must be right. That is making everything relative. Another group endorses the idea that religion occasionally points out to details, but it's a rarity. In such cases, when religion is on that platform, the final conclusion should be left to ratio. Thus, ratio and religion will almost never deal with the same topic, because ratio, in this opinion, only comes into play when religion does not offer any explicit interpretation. So, there are clear differences between the first and the second group. In the first group, religion was a set of universal and general notions without any specification, whose meaning is only to be defined by a culture of a nation. Therefore, religion in every cultural heritage gets a different mirror image. In the other group, this position is rejected. Religion is nothing but framework whose sense will only be obtained after individuals or communities accept them. But they do not embrace the concurrence of ratio and religion. In this other group, they are totally separated. Religion speaks about some specific segments, more metaphysical, while ratio is trying to cover all the aspects of life that, in a way, are neglected in religion. After these explanations, we can say that the position of the third group becomes especially relevant, and this is about maximalistic approach to religion. And this maximalistic approach is more or less present in transcendent thoughts in Islamic ideas back from the 17th century onwards. This is maximalistic approach. Our maximum expectation from religion. What does that mean? No aspect of human existence should be ignored in religion. Does it mean that they should mention absolutely everything? This should clearly be wrong. These texts are limited regardless of what confession they come from. They cannot describe everything, and the segments of human life are unlimited. They get expanded with the birth of every new member of the community. So how can you interpret this maximalistic approach to religion? The claim that religion will deal with everything does not mean that we will have explicit answers to all our questions in sacred texts. Sacred texts and religious literature are only a part of heritage. An important segment of that heritage, like we said, is human ratio, its intuition and senses. So, according to this maximalistic definition, human ratio, human senses can be presented within religious tradition. Ratio here is nothing but an integral part of religion. It is not something that functions regardless of religion. It is not on the margins. It is enshrined in and enriched with the truth from religion. So ratio remains ratio, and its capacities and remain the same, but religious understanding gets new frontiers. Ratio is a catalyst to this position, catalyst to religious thought. Man can only get it is seen as one of the main sources of religion. The religion comes from sacred texts, from and ratio and intuition. Ratio, as collector of data, uses intuition and senses. So intuition also is a player in this story. To conclude, I tried to present in this short period 3 different models of approaching religion, or 3 levels of our expectations from religion. Thus, we come to 3 models of understanding relations between science and religion. And in line with these 3 models, there are 3 definitions of religious science. The first, minimalistic, did not accept religious science in general, and proponents of this idea, science can be religious only if it serves it, but its nature will have nothing to do with religion, and religion as such cannot take part in education. It cannot take part in the formation of a cultural environment and cultural facts within a society. According to the second model, religion influences understanding of universal and general world around us, and nothing else but that. So, religion generally speaks about relations between metaphysical and physical objects, and then it only looks at metaphysical, not any other details. However, according to the third model, which we call maximalistic, or relations between science and religion, religion becomes by news and something that is later presented to the people, but does not stop there. And this is an important conclusion. Thus, on this epiphany, religion does not stop, and the revelations leave a deep mark on humans' ratio. They enrich it with new data and lead it into a new world which is higher than this that is accepted by our senses. So, religion ontology does not deny material world. It only shows that this world is actually a reflection of a higher world, and that true beings should be sought in the second world. It is clear that this kind of understanding of religion not only does not deny or undermine specific methods in scientific disciplines, but will actually support them. It will at the same time accept rational, traditional and empirical methods, but will strive to use them adequately, in line with ontological hierarchy that it takes from epiphanies and which later corroborates it with ratio and intuition. So take, for example, Avicenna, one of the well-known Islamic philosophers and a pharmacist and supporter of natural sciences in Islam. When he was examining different diseases, does he go out from Islamic heritage, or does he go out from religious? Well, he spoke about medicine. So when he speaks about philosophy, he is there, but when he speaks of medicine, he is not. Why? Why is there a difference? Of course, that's not right. It's not only his philosophy that was an integral part of the religious tradition. This also applied to his medicine. This was also for Bujani and Sisyphus astronomy, Geber's alchemy, Horasmius and Nasranius mathematics, and so on. Because religion as such encompasses all aspects of their scientific endeavor, because it creates a type of fundamental view onto topics of scientific discipline. So religion is not just metaphysics, it goes into all spheres of human intellectual development, and without any doubt, these are all elements of religious and cultural heritage. And by special approach, religious first defines ontological status of a subject, after which one can clearly decide what methods there should be. So based on our views on the topic, we can conclude what methods there will be. It is metaphysical, philosophical, or is it intuitive? Is it based on epiphany and tradition? Metaphysical approach take an intuitive approach.
So this requires empirical research, and man and society that transfers through different segments should religion, and I'll stop here, does not include only sacred texts, but the entire intellectual and cultural inheritance created through thanks to its perspectives and views of the world. Thank you very much.